Well, the word is official. Caitlin Clark is going to be out for the rest of the season for the Indiana Fever. Not a surprise. Got down here to the last week or so of the regular season. Caitlin Clark still not practicing, not cleared by doctors, and therefore the Fever just decided it's not worth any kind of risk. We'll just wait till next year as the team fights for the eighth and final playoff spot. All right, so here's what concerns me, though. What's going on with Indianapolis and the medical teams that work on the professional athletes in Indiana? Because this is a pattern now. This is a series of athletes, professional athletes, star players in Indianapolis that have ended up hurt, either didn't get the care they needed, didn't recover like they needed to recover, came back and then had a more serious injury. But this is a pattern now of what I would call mismanagement with the medical staff. And it's happened now for over a decade. When is Indianapolis going to find the right medical people to take care of these athletes? Yes, I've got to blame. I mean, this is a groin injury. Either they lied to us about the severity of the injury because they wanted to continue to sell tickets for games late in the season when everybody was expecting Caitlin Clark to be back. The WNBA pressured them to not reveal the true injury, or this injury lingered far longer than it should have. I don't get a groin injury, and I'm no medical doctor, but I don't get a groin injury that ends up lasting for months upon months and you can't get back on the court. But that's the case with Caitlin Clark. And the other thing is she was cleared to play and then goes back out and gets hurt. Now, it was a different injury because she dealt with a hamstring, then she dealt with something. I don't remember exactly what it was before the groin. Was that the quad or the hamstring or whatever it was? But you just got to wonder what is going on in Indianapolis. Peyton Manning, remember the deal with the neck? Jim Irsay was telling us he was going to be back in a couple of weeks. He would just miss the start of the season, but after a couple of weeks, they were hoping to have him back. Then it was maybe up to 6 weeks. Then it was going to be 8 weeks, half a season, hopefully by December. And he ended up out for a season. And of course, that's how the Colts ended up getting Andrew Luck. But Peyton Manning ended up having to go across the pond to Europe to get some kind of specialized medical care because they couldn't get him healthy in Indianapolis. And then he goes on after the Colts medicals told the Colts that Peyton Manning was probably not going to be able to return to form. And the Colts decided they would draft a quarterback, Andrew Luck, move forward and move away from Peyton Manning. And he goes and wins a Super Bowl with Denver. And then you had Andrew Luck. Look what happened to him. He had a series of injuries, and you can say, yeah, he was a guy that wouldn't slide or go down. He took punishment and, ends up being hurt. But injuries certainly plagued his career and forced him into an early retirement. And then Anthony Richardson comes along. I mean, this is a series of Colts quarterbacks that have had injuries, and they have been a key to their performance, not only as an individual, but as a team. And then you look at the Indiana Pacers, very similar situations there, where you have multiple players that have dealt with injuries. They struggle to get back on the court. Tyrese Haliburton does make it back on the court. He gets cleared to play, but ends up snapping that Achilles, and now he's going to be out for a season. Caitlin Clark misses a season. Just seems like either it's a sad coincidence that all these injuries seem to happen in Indianapolis, or we have to start saying, what the hell is going on with the medical people in the state capitol? I mean, are these teams getting the right care for professional athletes? Their bodies are tuned a little differently than your average person. And you've got, I mean, it's kind of like the mechanic that can work on domestics but can't work on international cars. But yet they try to work on them anyway because it's prestigious to be working on Mercedes-Benz and Lamborghini and BMW, whatever the brand may be. And it's kind of the same thing. You've got doctors that probably feel rather privileged and special to be working on some of the top professional athletes in our state, but maybe they're not the most qualified people. And maybe this has to be studied a little bit because Caitlin Clark is out and she is the future of Indiana Fever basketball and, of course, the future of the WNBA. So I do have to make this comment, though, since I've got a chance to get on here. Angel Reese came out and basically threw her entire team under the bus, saying that the Chicago Sky were mismanaged, bad roster construction, they need more help, they need better players in Chicago. Well, it reminds me of the Taylor Swift song. I think it's called Anti-Hero. And it's the Taylor Swift song where she says, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Maybe that's what Angel Reese has to look at because she's done nothing to help the Chicago Sky. Yeah, she gets rebounds, but we all know a lot of them are me-bounds that she's getting from her own misses. She's not making her teammates better. No, instead, she's throwing them under the bus. She's certainly not making her team any better because they haven't been good since she's arrived. So maybe, instead of pointing the finger at the other people, maybe you question your organization for their choice of draft pick because you and Cardoso haven't exactly lit the world on fire for Chicago. Just my thoughts. Of course, I'm a big Angel Reese fan. All right, we've got to wrap it up. We're going to get back to football, but just some thoughts. Caitlin Clark is out for the remainder of the season. Just disappointing news, but not unexpected news from the Indiana Fever tonight.